If you're new here, I'm Travis, full-time swing trader that's taken my account from $150,000 to a little over $1 million in the last 3 years. And I'm openly sharing my entire strategy. And each week I take you through every position I'm holding and my favorite stock setups going into the new week. I walk you through the technical analysis and also share my exact positions, stop losses, and profit targets. If you find value in this, please hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. It keeps me motivated to continue sharing. Now let's get into the week ahead.
All right, gang. As always, the first thing I like to do is get into a little bit about the general market and what's happening. Now, the first thing that we're experiencing is obviously a lot of chop. And that's kind of the theme of the video, theme of the last couple weeks, almost the last few months. If this is QQQ, and you can see we have been in basically this same range. You can take price from 620 all the way back here to like late October. So it's been a long slog. If you're struggling, don't feel inadequate necessarily. Maybe you are, but don't necessarily feel that way, right? A lot of people are struggling right now. If you're trading the indices, if you're trading Mag 7, if you're focused on all of those things that everybody else is focused on, you probably are struggling because we've done a whole lot of nothing, really. This is the VWAP, the anchored VWAP from the highs put in October 29th. And the good news is we're still kind of trading above that and it's trying to tread higher. The other good news is we are making higher lows, consistently higher lows here, right? The low from November, the low from December, the low here in early January, the low here just last week, Wednesday. So we are making higher lows. And we're trying to make higher highs if we could just get through that 627-ish level, right? And then the all-time highs. And we do have the 50-day moving average here starting to kind of curl up a little bit. The 100, everything, 200, both still, trending higher. So I don't see any real big areas of concern here. Yes, we have more tariff chatter this weekend. So what? Last weekend, it was the Fed getting investigated. The weekend before that, it was oil's going to tank and take the market with it because of the Venezuela. Tune it out. Tune out the noise. Focus on the charts. Look at price. That will tell you 98% of everything you want to know. All right, moving on to the S&P 500. Same type of thing here. We have made new all-time highs. Everything looks constructive. Yes, people are starting to panic because we're not going higher fast enough, I guess. But it's just the market environment right now. And so you adapt and change your strategy or just do nothing. Go take a vacation and hang out. However, look at IWM. Just ripping. New all-time highs every other day. This is where we want to be trading, right? And this is where I've been trading, small caps. And it's hard to complain if you've been focused on small caps. And that's part of the problem, is that most people are sitting here focused on, this is the Mag 7 ETF, and it just looks weak, right? It looks like it failed to make this new high here in, what was this, late December, and we've just been trickling lower. And so many people are so focused on Mag 7 and think that without them, the market can't be healthy. But when you look at the equal weight S&P 500, RSP, means every stock is treated equally instead of by market cap, making new all-time highs. This tells me there's great breadth out there. Markets are healthy. Everyone's worrying over pretty much nothing from what I could tell. At least that's the lens I'm looking through. All right, so that's just general market update. I'm still bullish. I'm not too concerned. That said, I am balancing my super long book with some shorts as well because I'm trying to make sure that I'm being responsible. Okay, so getting into the trades, before I get into the trades, I want you all to know that I share a lot on Twitter /X throughout the week. I can only do these videos once a week, but I am sharing kind of a lot of these daily recaps, these morning recaps, telling you what I'm doing, and I'll share setups in real time. So check that out. This is one I did from the 16th. But as always, we will go through first my set and forget pile. These are trades that I have been in that I have de-risked by either taking partial profits or simply getting my stop loss to a point without taking profits yet where there is no risk left in the trade. It's above my entry. So first up is IREN. IREN is the symbol. And I detailed this, I'm not sure if it was in last week's video, but definitely on Twitter. I wanted to get through this 50 level. It was a very obvious resistance back here in September, support here in October, and then a whole bunch of attempts to get through that in late November, again here in December, and finally we got the energy. You see the volume coming in down here. It's a big clue, and just got a huge push. Actually, I talked about this last week because I said the close on Friday right here, this close on Friday was super disappointing because I thought we were going to get above the 50-day moving average and close above it, and we didn't, and we sold off into the close. But Monday, nice strong candle, and it just consolidated midweek and then really pushed hard on Friday. So you can see I initially bought and then added here 1,000 shares on Tuesday and took the initial 1,000 shares off here for partial profits on Friday and moved my stop up to break even. So I am free rolling this trade. I'm very happy with how it's developing. If you aren't in it yet, yeah, you could buy, but this isn't really where I personally like to get involved. But we have plenty of other positions that might offer good entries right now. So this is what I'm going to just keep trailing and hope that it turns into a big winner. Right now it is a small win, and that's just the name of the game of swing trading, is trying to get a trade to a point where it just keeps working for you. So I'll go through a few more of these. This is UMAC, Unusual Machines. Same thing. This was definitely in last week's video. I added more here. I had 20,000 shares. I took 10,000 off at some point, hit a target there, and then I added 2,000 because it was just looking so well. So I added another 20%, and the stop loss is well into profit, and we're hopefully going to keep riding this up. I did share on Twitter. Let's see. We'll go to the log chart of this name. If you do a Fibonacci extension, like the targets get crazy. This is essentially a big ascending triangle. I said once we're through the 1750 mark, now I'd really obviously like to see us through these all-time highs, but 1750 was really capping price multiple times here. A 1.618 fib extension level puts us at almost $40 on a log scale. So do we get there? I don't know. I would love it. Obviously, I'm hoping to trail this and see how far it will take us. But this looks really, really good. This is drones, and we've seen drones perform really well this past week, and hopefully we'll continue to do so. Moving on, we have UUUU, all the U's. I bought this. It looks like 2,500 shares. I think this was an ad. I know I took off a small bit at $21, and I'm hoping to get another small portion or good chunk off at $23.05. Super strong. The EMAs here, the 10 and 20 curled up, offering support. The 50, I'd like to see that cross over the 100, simple moving average, but there's no reason in my mind that this should not see new, I don't know if these are all-time highs, local highs for sure, but it looks like all-time highs. So super, super strong after a lot of consolidation. And the key to this one was breaking this was like a 1650 mark. So it came through up and really just consolidated nicely before another break or a leg higher. So looking super constructive. If you're in this one, I am still trailing it and still a big believer. EOS, definitely one I shared on Twitter. Oh, we're back to log scale here. I said this was a big kind of bull flag. And if we can break through it, we should see this potentially run to new all-time highs, which was January 2021 up here at 30, call it $32 for simplicity. Beautiful chart. What else can you say? Volume coming in really nice where you want to see it as that bull flag's breaking up. And again, I took some profits here, 5,000 shares, it looks like, yeah. And then I added back 1,500, which looks silly because if you really get in here, it looks kind of silly that I was selling a little bit lower here. I was selling at 1635 and rebuying at 1681. So it's like, why didn't you just hold, Travis? You just don't know. These are different days. These are different days, and it just looked like a nice add here. But I also didn't add back as much as I took off. So I did completely de-risk this trade. The stop loss is in profit, and it looks just phenomenal. So if you're in this one, good job to you, and hopefully we keep on rolling with this. Compass is brokerage for real estate, and it's just been on a nice run with the tailwind here was kind of that headline about buying $200 billion worth of mortgage-backed security or something from Trump with Freddie and Fannie, and it's just volume super, super strong here, was consolidating. I know this was breaking higher a little bit after hours on Friday. I think there was a headline, I forget now, but looks great overall. If we bump this out to the weekly, we're still not even close to that all-time highs near 22. It's a lot of potential room to run here. Does it get there? Who knows? Do we get shaken out before it does? If it does, yeah, maybe. But that is just, again, part of the game. But what I love here is that is a completely de-risked trade, and it looks phenomenal from the trend perspective. You've got the EMAs pointing higher, the 50, the 100, the 200, all stacked. I call that, again, purely aligned to the upside. So everything we want to see there for some hopeful trend continuation. Now, I have been getting tighter on these stops on Friday just to protect gains. I had one of these trades come back down that I felt like I should have protected better. So these stops are a little bit tighter right now than I'd had them earlier in the week, but I think that's a good thing. And I think that if these continue to work, they should continue to work quickly. NBR is a oil and gas play, I believe. It's been a slow and steady kind of gainer. I tightened up the stop here. It still looks constructive. Like this whole trend has been beautiful. And, it's kind of a turnaround recovery play from something that's been in a downtrend for many, many years. So something I'm just continuing to hold. And again, just keep raising that stop. And hopefully this continues to pay us. But not much to say here. The oil and gas space, we'll get into Devon in a minute, but I've been looking for spots to get into this more now that the Venezuela stuff is kind of, I won't say quieted down, but settled in a bit. The dust has settled from that a bit, and you're starting to see some winners emerge. This one here is, this is our yen short. Okay, I'm short yen futures. And again, we'll pull up the dollar yen chart, which I've shared on Twitter. And it just looks phenomenal. We broke out of this resistance. We came down Friday, and this was on some jawboning from the Bank of Japan and somebody else, basically saying that they might intervene because the yen is weakening so much against other currencies. It happens. Sometimes they do. A lot of times they just threaten it over and over, and the market reacts a little bit and then continues doing what it was doing anyway. But this is another trade I haven't taken any profits on this, but I have de-risked it just by moving my stop loss down. So my stop loss is, I'll go down to the hourly chart here. It's just barely in profit right now. You can see I was selling more here. I had initially 5 contracts on, worked that up to 10, and now we're free rolling. So hopefully this continues lower. We are getting awfully close to the stop. I still am, working with the trend, and hopefully it continues to reward me for that. Rocket Mortgage, again, in this home sector. Now, last week I had Rocket, I had Compass, I had Open Door stop me out just by a little bit. That's okay, we made money there. But Rocket continues to look really, really nice. I wish it would have had a better Friday, but I'd like to see it consolidate sideways. Hopefully we don't take out my stop loss here, but it very well could. But we are trading, I don't think quite at new all-time highs, getting close. It looks great. I think that this is more of a micro theme, if I'm being honest. It got a lot of tailwinds from the headline with the $200 billion mortgage buy, but if rates don't come down, and I'm not convinced that they will, does this stand to do well? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe the consumer or the home buyers, maybe the consumer is strengthening enough where it doesn't matter if rates go much lower. I'm a big believer that as long as rates aren't moving aggressively higher, meaning we don't have a lot of rate volatility, then things tend to do just fine. So we'll see how Rocket continues to move for us. RCAT is another one I've taken just small profits on. I had a position of 10,000 shares here. We took 2,000 off at 14.42 on Friday, I think it was, or Thursday. But looks really great if it can get over this hump. If it can get over this, the number is kind of obvious here, but I'll slap it on anyway. This 15, call it 1550-ish up above this high, or that's 1650. This is a log chart. We'll take off the log. It looks crazier. I'll put that back on log because it's easier to see. If we can get above that, I don't know where this guy is on this thing. We would be in all-time high territory. So it's price discovery at that point. Again, this is drones. We've had a lot of volume coming in ever since, it looks like December 22nd. We're just seeing volume spikes early January again. So a lot of volume coming in, which I do like. But I did get burned on something that's similar, like ACHR, Archer, Aviation. This was months and months ago. Same similar look, and just came puking back lower. So we really need to get above that level. And if we don't, we're probably setting up for failure. So holding this, fingers crossed that it continues. Teck Resources is, I have no idea what they do. Yeah, I'm guessing like minerals, oil and gas, something like that. But again, this one's been in videos for weeks now. And it's just been trending higher and higher little by little. I think they had some headline here with a potential merger. Market didn't seem to like it, sold off on Friday, but kind of recovered for the most part in order to get out a little bit of this up here in 30 or 53.28 area. Hopefully that hits soon, but this one's just been like slow and steady. I debate cutting this because I'm only up 7% and I know I've been holding it for at least a couple weeks now. So if this doesn't get moving soon, I may cut it. That said, there's no real good reason to cut it because these, like I said, like the trend here is just phenomenal. It's everything we want to see with the EMAs and then the SMAs stacked and that pure line kind of formation. And let's bump this out to the weekly. If it can get up and out of this, 55 zone, we still have to get up through here, right? 63-ish. But this is kind of all-time high-ish territory. That's the log chart. Messy, messy chart. Maybe there's some history here I'm not aware of. But it looks extremely constructive and like it could just continue running. So I'm holding that, just like everything else in the set and forget bucket. We're hoping that those trends continue and continue to, hopefully some of them become really big winners for us. Now, I'm going to collapse this list and we're going to get into all of this stuff that I am holding that I'm not de-risked yet. Now, I might be up on some of this stuff, but a lot of it is I'm still trying to de-risk it, take some profits, move those stops into break even. So the first one is FLY. And for some reason, I thought this was a drone company, but it's a space company, which tends to be even better right now. A lot of space, ASTS, Rocket Lab, etc. have been doing very, very well. Fly finally came out of, this is the weekly, finally came out of this kind of consolidation. And what we're doing is we're trying to front run this turn a little bit. It doesn't have a lot of history. It went public, somewhat recently compared to most of these other names. And trying to get this roll up and out. And I barely missed my 50% profit target here on Friday. So I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that hits early next week. And then we can de-risk and throw it in the set and forget pile. Now you'll notice I did already get my stop loss really tight to my entry already. And so there's very, very little risk on this trade now currently, but I would like to see that 50% come off and then just hopefully trail this thing. No telling how high it will go. It's in theme right now, again, space, rockets, or etc. So I like it from all those vantage points. LEU, Centrus Energy. This is a uranium play. Now I got shaken out of this. Initially bought 500 shares on Monday the 12th. Got stopped out on this kind of nasty move here just a couple days later, and it still looked good to me. So I rebought here at 317.80 with 600 shares this time. Super strong day on Friday. And if you look at this, and let me pull it up over here just to kind of give us a clearer view without so many of my entries in execution marks. This is just beautiful consolidation. You look at something like this, it's got that just a very cup and handle type vibe to it, where here's the handle, right? Pull this out a little bit. Here's our cup, here's our handle, and we're breaking out strong volume, beautiful candle, closing at the highs. I don't know how this one cannot continue to run. It is a little volatile, especially in this zone it's been. But this just looks like a next leg up here. And do we go to 400, 380? I don't know. Somewhere up in this, you would think we would kind of struggle maybe a little bit, have another kind of one of these. But if this can get going, I would love to see this move. And we've got that first target here up in 397.40. Now these targets are simply 2x my risk. So I set my stop loss and then I set my target on all of these to be twice what I'm initially risking. So that's how I come up with those. It does happen to be in this congestion zone, so we'll see if it plays out the way I'd like it to. But I'm not up a ton on this. I'm hardly up at all. This is actually, I did get in at 317.80, but what this is doing is adjusting my cost basis higher a bit because this was technically a wash sale. I took a loss on it. I rebought within a 30-day window. So Interactive Brokers is adjusting my cost basis higher because of that, right? So this is my cost basis with the wash sale included. Anyway, moving on, Cipher. Another one, and if I move this to a log chart, it looks kind of cleaner in my opinion. We had this I've got 12,000 shares that are slightly in profit. You can see my stop loss there. I'm going to move over to this other chart just because, again, it's cleaner. We'll bump this to the log again. But if you're looking at something like this, and I don't love diagonals, guys. I really don't love diagonals, but it does make this easy to kind of see what's happening here. We had this kind of pennant flag, whatever you want to call it, and broke out, consolidated for a few days, and pushed higher on strong volume, key. And it just looks good. It looks good all around. I don't see why this wouldn't continue higher. You've got the 10 and 20 EMAs crossing, making that cross up over the 50. I'd like to see the 50 start curling higher as well, but looks very constructive. And again, I'm only up 2.5%-ish on this. I think it has a lot of room to run. Now we're gonna have to get through this congestion area here at 21-ish. Beyond that, it should be all-time high kind of stuff. And again, the volume's coming in. This looks like the right time to be involved. I believe I shared this one on Twitter as well. IONQ, a short position. This is going to be unpopular probably for people who are into high beta, into quantum, but it just doesn't look great to me. This is a log, go to the normal. It's basically forming a pennant here after a big downtrend. And this could admittedly go either way. It just doesn't have the feeling that it's going to go higher yet. We got rejected here at 38.2 fib retracement from the last leg down. It's been consolidating. Volume's been kind of contracting and just doing a whole lot of nothing. I do believe that this could be an area that continues lower as the market goes higher or chops. Or if the market comes down, this could get hit harder. So not a huge thesis here beyond I want to have some shorts on even if I lose money on these shorts. I don't care. I do care, but I have done the cost benefit of having positions that I'm going to potentially lose money on, knowing that I'll make money on my longs and saying I'm okay with that. I'm hedging my risk a bit here with that. And I'm happy to do it for the most part. So my stops here, it's up at $54-ish. My first target would be 42, and then I would hopefully just trail the rest. And I'm going to show you a few more shorts. You can see them here. I've got in the deck that I'm doing the same thing with. All right, moving on. Voyager Technologies. I believe it's space. I really don't know. It looks a lot like Fly in terms of just not a lot of history, but rolling up. And I like the look at it. I like the look of it on the daily, and then on the lower time frames, we see that the hourly had come through the 200 and everything's kind of rolling up, looking purely aligned there. 15-minute was kind of the same thing, looking very nice. So I'm just trying to ride this trend, keep the stop loss relatively tight, and see if this can be a future winner, a future set and forgetter. And that's the name of the game. I'm trying to plant these seeds and hope some of them grow into, fruit-bearing trees. Is that what we want? So we can start harvesting them down the line. APLD just looks really phenomenal. I'm not sure if I'm in the log or not. I saw this basically after hours and I took a position quickly because it just looks like all this volume coming in. We're trading near all-time highs. It looks like it has come off and kind of gained the energy that hopefully it has enough energy to burst through these last highs and continue higher. And again, I don't know how high this thing could go. Who cares? We will trail and see what happens. But these are all-time highs we're trading at. And I just love the look of the chart. I loved it. I saw it in after hours and I said, wow, this looks fantastic. If you see that hourly here, the 10 and 20 are rolling up, the 50 is going up, and I'm just trying to catch this, the momentum behind it, with a stop loss here below the low on Friday. So fingers crossed this one works out. I like it a lot. I like the look of it a lot, but don't know much about the company, to be honest. So not an expert there. NBIS, another one I honestly don't know a lot about the company. I know it's very popular. I know people are convinced this is, like IREN, one of the next big things, or EOS, one of the next big kind of companies. Sure, I hope it is. I hope we catch a huge move here. But again, it looks a lot like IREN, where we got through a key level. In this case, it was like 100, 101, and came back down, tested it. We this whole dance in here to consolidate. We can zoom in a bit. And Friday, we swung lower, but it just got bought up so hard and closed really strong. So I like it a lot. Volume came through. We're up here about 8%, and I'm pushing it with the 114.75 initial target. But this looks good to hopefully continue to run. The one thing I don't like about this chart, and some other ones that you'll see in the deck here, is the 50-day moving average, the green, is still below the 100. And I want to see that really cross over and move higher. So I would not be surprised if at some point I get shaken out of some of these trades because it just isn't quite right. Or the alternative, hopefully, is that price moves so aggressively and quickly that the 50-day just catches up rapidly. Fingers crossed, that's what happens. Overall, love the look of this, and I'm hopeful that it will be a big contributor. If we could just take out that first target, again, we'd ratchet up the stop loss, it'd go in the set and forget bucket. So I would love to keep adding to that bucket. ALAB, hell, this is a wash sale adjustment. I bought here on Tuesday at 175.82, but I took a hit here recently with ALAB trying to buy this again. I think it's in a couple weeks ago in the video. So the cost basis does show a little bit higher here. That's fine. I know where I'm at. The big thing here is we closed again above this. This is the anchored VWAP from the all-time high back, what was this? Sometime in September. So we're above that for like the second time. And I'm really hoping this time that it holds. You know, this is a tough one to trade. It's a little slippery. But if it can break through and kind of stick this landing, all of this starts curling up, I think we're going to be in really good shape. This is one that I'm still early on, right? And again, you'll see this 50 really needs to curl up here and get going. But I think it has a lot of potential. If it can kind of get through here and move, it should easily go up to, you know, the 250, 260 zone. We do have earnings probably in a couple weeks. So hopefully I can get, oh yeah, we've got time, almost a month on that. So hopefully we can get some cushion, get our first target off, and just hold this thing and see how it goes. But another one I just really love the look of. Another short I have on, again, it's quantum. It's a lot of execution marks. So let me go over to QUBT here. It just looks like a pennant for me below A, the 200 moving average, this red line, right? B, below this key $14 area that was support several times here back in August and September, support here real briefly in October, and then finally fell through, came up, failed, didn't quite get there. And you got to wonder, are we failing again? I'm not making a big bold bet against quantum, guys. That's not what I'm doing. I am looking at what I deem to be some of the weakest charts out there that also might offer a lot of room lower if they were to, you know, crack and break and sell off. That, you know, it would be a high beta trade for me to the downside. So again, I'm not picking on quantum. I'm not a big quantum bear. I do believe that, you know, a lot of this is overdone and these companies are, you know, making a lot of false promises. But I'm not crazy about that. I'm not like passionate about it, let's say. I just want to make money. And I see this as a potential to hedge the portfolio. So if I lose money, that means probably most of my portfolio is going up anyway. And if it makes money for me, it's either because the markets are selling off and this is selling off probably harder and it's canceling out some of the losses I'm taking elsewhere, or I do believe this is one of those sectors that could simply move lower even if we chopped around or moved higher in the general indices, right? So I just believe that the probabilities are skewed in my favor on stuff like this. And hopefully I'm right. But if I'm not, I'm okay with that. OKLO is the same kind of thing. I'll go over here just to show you guys my entry and stop. I'm right kind of where I sold this thing. 2,000 shares short, pretty tight stop loss. I did make a quick trade on this last week. Here we sold, we bought back here. I think I made 6 or 7K on that. And then I sold a few times here to get repositioned. I just don't think it's strong. I think it's one of those stocks that is overvalued. I hate that term, but I think people realize these stocks or these companies are just kind of vaporware. So I'm not trying to make that stance. I'm just saying that's how I'm trading it. And again, if we were to come back here just to these local lows of 71-ish, it's a huge win. It's a great win. 2,000 shares, 20 bucks, you know, it's 40 grand. I'd love it. I'll take that all day. So again, this is just strategically trying to balance out my portfolio with something that I deem to be weaker. MP is quite the opposite. Looks extremely strong. We finally got through this 66. I was talking about this with one of my trading buddies. It's like, look at how many chances this thing gave you to enter in the 66 range. It failed here, came down through, came back up, came here. Like, you had multiple days to get involved here. And that's exactly what I was doing, right? I was buying here, 2,000 here. I bought another 1,000 here, right at 65.74. And it really just, it looks strong. It looks like it wants to curl up. And again, note that the 50-day moving average is not above the 100 yet. So is this premature? I don't know. It might be, but I like taking a stab here because it could easily catch up. We could go to the 76.14, hit that target, come back down, dance around, let those moving averages catch up, and then the big move happens. I don't know. But right now, I just like the look of it. Getting through that 66 mark was super important to me. I know I mentioned that in last week's video. If you want to go back and kind of see how these develop, I think that's a great use of time. But this should continue moving higher. And I think that 76 is a great first target for this. Notice I'm only going to take about a third off there. That's because I want to let more of this run if possible. ISSC is a random stock. My buddy, called out to me. It just looked good. I mean, obviously this is a massive, massive run. I don't usually like to get involved in these instances, but I'm kind of trying to do a few different things. You do notice that volume came in aggressively on this big candle. And so I was just looking at this from the lower time frames, trying to front run this breakout. It didn't quite get there. It still looks pretty constructive, I think, but it does feel like it's at nosebleed levels when you go back out at the daily chart and say, holy cow, am I buying this? On the other hand, I see these a lot where $22 in another few weeks might be cheap. It could be at $50, could be at 60. I have no idea. So I'm trying to just kind of experiment with these sorts of setups, something different for me, not something I would recommend if you're getting started. Just stick to the basics. But if this works out, could work out really well. So my stop is pretty wide right now. I do anticipate just cranking this up after another day or two. If it does start getting below this like 21, I'd probably just bail on it. MicroStrategy, I told you guys last week that I'm holding the $170 calls for, I think it's February 20th. Really dependent on Bitcoin, right? And what that does. And for the most part, on the lower time frames, it's trying to turn up. It's trying to get up through that 100. This is the 1 hour chart. So the 200-hour moving average right here. And the 15, it looks constructive. It's trying to roll up again. I don't love it. I bought the options just to kind of set and forget it from the start and say, hey, this is either going to work or it's not. I'm okay with the risk if it doesn't. But I do believe, and I shared this on Twitter, I do believe if this thing can get going, it should hit 230, 240. It should. And I do believe that it could happen within that month time frame. That means the options I bought for like $13 could be $60, which is a huge win, would be a huge win. So that's kind of what I'm hoping. It's either kind of a binary outcome for me. Either I lose my premium or I do very well with it. I'm comfortable with the risk either way, but it does need to get going here. It does need to break above kind of the 200 mark would be great. It's hard to imagine it's not going to 230, 240. So probably not something I'd be entering now, not options. Maybe I'd take shares just on a lower time frame. Like you could slap a stop loss here below this low from Friday. Was it? Yeah, Friday. And just see if this rolls up. But if it goes, it should go, and it should go soon. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Clean Energy. We talked about this last week. It's going to be like a slow and steady one, and I've debated cutting this just because I do have 15,000 shares that are. It's taking up buying power, but it doesn't require as much buying power as a more high beta name. The top holding in this is Bloom Energy, which has just been on a great tear. It's at new all-time highs. And I remember looking at it down here and really just not understanding the thesis. What could have been, right? But I do like ICLN because it's just going to be hopefully slow and steady. So I would take 50% off at 18.19, which would be like basically all-time highs here, and then just trail the rest. So I don't expect this to move aggressively. I don't expect it to move quickly. But again, if you are a beginner trader and you're like, hey, I want to start just trend following. I want to start swing trading without a ton of stress, without a ton of volatility. This is your guy, right? A lot of things like this would be very well suited for that. So I like it from that perspective. I like it as a portfolio diversifier. It's not quantum, it's not crypto, it's not uranium, it's not space, it's different, right? So I'm trying to get a whole bunch of mix of different stuff. Joby is another one I liked on, what was it, Thursday or Friday? Well, I guess we could just look here, right? Thursday, I bought some. I think it doubled down on Friday. Yeah, I doubled up on Friday. Just looked great. It didn't finish all that well, and that was kind of disappointing. And it's a little noisy here on the lower time frames, but it just is giving that look on the daily that it wants to roll up. Hey, let me pull this up without the executions, just so it's a little bit cleaner. No, it really seems like it wants to roll up, and volume is coming in here. You see this dearth of kind of volume from all of December, really. And all of a sudden, it's kind of waking up here on this move and kind of came down, corrected, and we're just getting a lot of these wicks, though. And I really just want to see a strong move up and kind of over 17. And that's kind of the beauty of this, is that I don't need this to go to like breaking new all-time highs to have a win. Like, I feel like an $18 initial price target to take half of this off and de-risk is very feasible, especially if we look at this on the log chart. It just looks like it's building a base here to spring out of and go higher. So hopefully I'm right. If not, it's a probability game for me, and just, again, planting those seeds and hoping that some of them grow into something. So I like it. Again, it's a little bit kind of like drones, but it's really not, because it's air taxis and stuff. But the chart looks constructive. So one to put on your list maybe, or hop into. This is BMNR crypto, another crypto play that, I thought was going to play out quicker, better. I was buying here in this range, expecting this breakout to hold or at least continue, and it hasn't. It came very, very, very close to my stop loss on Friday, and we survived it for now. We'll see how this plays out. I'm going to sit on it. Hopefully that crypto can have a rally here next week, and this can get going. I don't know. A lot of these treasury companies are just tired. Tom Lee can only do so much to pump us here, I guess, right? I don't think I saw some chatter about his $200 million potential investment in Beast Enterprises, Beast, Mr. Beast stuff, and some people were cheering it. I think a lot of retail guys thought, oh, this is great, but like more sophisticated people were like, this is veering from the investment thesis, and it's distracting, and it's not what people are buying this thing for. So don't do that. But we'll see. Hopefully this can get off the ground. Obviously, you can tell I don't love it. I wouldn't be adding it here, but I am just letting the trade play out. That's kind of my rule. Unless I really see something kind of looking like it's deteriorating quickly, I'm going to let it play out. My stop loss was so close to getting hit. I feel lucky to be even in it anymore. AMC is another really small one. I saw this volume coming in, and I took some calls, very small, like a 10K premium for March 20th or something like that. Kind of sitting on it, down a little bit, but again, a binary outcome. If this thing goes to $2, $2.50, I would dump it. But this is not a trade I would recommend, guys. It is not something I would buy today. Personally, the volume's kind of dried up. The move just seems like it hasn't been able to get legs, and we just might see another one of these whoop and then puke down. But it is on my list, and I'm being transparent. You don't see, the options don't show up as positions here. I don't know why. Emster will be the same thing. But I promise you, if I pulled this up, and I won't because then I have to hide my account number, they are in there. So moving on. Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM. I love it. I see we broke through this all-time high here, 308, 310, whatever you want to call it. We gapped up on earnings and came down a little bit. I was adding here on, what was this, Wednesday? I was adding just a tiny 50 more shares here on Friday. I like it. I want more exposure. Who knows how far this thing can go. At this point, we're at all-time highs. It's a beautiful chart. So it's one we called out last week. I know for sure. You can see how nice this broke out on the weekly, and should just keep running. So I don't know when I'll de-risk this thing. I'll probably just keep an eye on my open P&L, my percentage. You notice I'm not showing the P&L necessarily here anymore because I don't want my mind to focus on that. But if I get up, 15, 20% on this, it might be time to de-risk a little bit what we have, 150, 60-ish thousand worth. It's not terrible. So I might just trail this as long as it'll give me. Tesla is a short. I was long and closed it. I think I scratched it here and then started shorting it. Mag 7 looks tired in general. The only Mag 7 stock I like right now is Google. That looks phenomenal. Beautiful, beautiful trend, right? But everything else, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, we showed you the Mag 7 ETF. earlier in the video, and they just look tired. So when I go down to the lower time frames, you see this, that's the 15, this is the hour. You just kind of see that we talk about the roll up. This is kind of the roll down. And we're seeing it below the 200-hour moving average, the red one, and the 50-hour and hour. They're all kind of just slipping down. And this just looks like it wants to crack lower. If we draw a trend line here, again, I don't love diagonals, but it's hard to argue strength here when it looks this weak, in my opinion. So again, it's not that I hate Tesla. I won't share my opinion on Tesla. I don't care either way. However, it does seem like a weak setup or a weak looking chart. I do have a very strong long book. I'm looking for some shorts, and this just looks like an obvious short. What will I do? What is the game plan here? I'm probably just going to trail this. It's not a huge position, 160, 70-ish. And I'll probably just trail it and see what it gives me. Does it come back down here to 384? That'd be great. It'd be a nice move. We'll see. I'll take it one day at a time, but I like the entry here. I'm always a little skittish on the short side of things. It's just something I'm working on. Stocks generally have a natural drift higher, so I don't like to overstay my welcome on the short side. So I might play this in and out. I don't know right now, but I'm using this as market protection, hopefully portfolio protection, a hedge, whatever you want to call it. I like it from that perspective. Moving on, Devon Energy Corporation, another oil and gas. I like this. And then there's some kind of merger talk that provided some volatility here. I want to say Thursday or Friday, but geez, I don't know why it's adjusting me so high here. It's a wash sale, obviously. Holy cow. I took a loss in this. It's not showing my executions. I don't know when. It was somewhere in this mess with Venezuela news and all this and that. I took a loss, and that's probably why it's adjusting it for a wash sale. But really what we need to see is this get through 38-ish, right? That's the key line. And I thought that was happening on Tuesday, Thursday, whatever it was last week. And I bought here, it says at 36.88 was the entry here. Now it's adjusted up for a wash sale, which is, I must have taken like a $5 per share loss on this initially. I don't know. I obviously don't have a ton of conviction in this right now. You can hear it in my voice. You can see it in my body language. I need to see how this develops. We could easily just come out here and take out my stop loss, whatever. I do think there are maybe some other more interesting oil and gas setups out there right now. I haven't entered them though. I'm still kind of waiting. And so I'm on the fence with this, guys. I will be honest with you. It's not something I'm crazy about, but like if we do get through 38, set your alerts here, or even a little bit higher here, 38, watch. I'll just throw an alert there and forget about it. If it goes through that, cool. If it goes and hits my stop, okay, it's off the list. Anyway, we don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Moving on to JD. It's China, right? It's China, which everyone's crazy about the Chinese names all of a sudden. I think it's China. It's not like an idiot, but I'm pretty sure it is. But it looks weak. It's always looked weak to me from the China thesis perspective. And Friday into the close, I just felt the need to hedge more of my portfolio, look for more shorts. So I quickly took this short. It just looks like, to me, we're getting, and maybe I need to go here on this one, JD, so I don't have all those execution marks. It just looks like we're bear flagging here. I mean, look at all these moving averages. A lot like Tesla in a way, but a stronger trend lower. You see, we are purely aligned lower, which you don't see a lot because usually you're looking at longs. But the 200's moving down, the 50's moving down, the 100's moving down, and they're stacked in order where they should be. It just seems like an obvious no-brainer. Again, I was looking for shorts for protection. So if this breaks, yeah, we could easily come down to 25, I don't know, further, who knows? Again, I'm treating this, way down and back here in 2018, 2019, or yeah, $20. I'm treating this a lot like Tesla, where I'll just trail. I'm not looking for real targets, I don't think. I actually might have a target in on this one. Yeah, I do. So I have an initial target at 25, 49. If I get it, and I'll just keep trailing. But the stop's pretty tight here. And I think this one either works quickly or, we come up here, we get snagged out of it. But again, I just like it for portfolio protection right now. And that's the only reason. Looking for more shorts. AEVA, A-E-V-A, I believe this is LiDAR. Heard rumblings about this, checked it out. I like the look of it. It's volatile though. It's definitely volatile. I got it up here. I thought it was a weird breaking out and we kind of puked back lower. Came down here on Friday, but recovered. So who knows where this thing's going to end up. The stop right now it's a little wide. It's a little wide. It's like a $4 stop. That'd be a 20K hit. It's the portfolio, which is, it's a little more risk than I usually like to take. So I am looking to tighten this up soonish. If we are able to start kind of getting it back above my entry, I'd kind of get the stop up soon. So a volatile play if you're not used to them, but like you look at this zone here, this was kind of the high back in May 2025. We struggled, we came back, we struggled again, and we're getting above it. And so as long as that should kind of be, mentally that's where I want my stop to be, is maybe $18. As long as we stay above that zone, which is like 1876, call it 1850 to 19. As long as we stay above that, I think this looks very constructive. And it looks like a lot of names we keep. You remember IREN, you remember maybe NBIS, right? Again, you see this 100 level. We had these levels, like once we got through them, hopefully we're gonna keep crushing it. And that's the idea here. I'm kind of front running these moves a little bit because these are important levels, right? So let's get back to that. We are through that. So if you look at this from that lens, from that perspective, you say, okay, I can define my risk. I should probably take my size down a little bit because this is volatile. And if this goes, it should go, right? 30, 40, why not? That's a double. 40 is a double. And I've got 5,000 shares. Was that 100 grand? I'd be great. I'd be very happy with a move like that if we could capture it all. Probably wouldn't because I'll take some half off and de-risk. Or, if I really want to get crazy, I just get that stop loss up toward break even and go for the whole move. Maybe you do that on some of these. It's definitely a more aggressive way to play it. But moving on, Wayfair, I'm almost done here. Wayfair is, the furniture company. It's been in the tariff news kind of panic. Are these illegal? Are these not? I think negative ruling for tariffs would be positive for Wayfair. My buddy turned me on to this. I thought the chart looked beautiful from a daily perspective. We have broken out. This is, a zone at 114, 115 we've broken out of and should keep going. In this case, we do have all the moving averages stacked, moving higher. So the trend looks really great. The tariff news is a potential risk, but it's been handling that news very well. Supreme Court keeps delaying the decision on these tariffs, and we do sell off when that happens. I think it was, I don't know these exact dates. Maybe it was here. Definitely on Friday. It was delayed. But it's digesting that. It's not panicking and dropping back down to 90s and 100 or something like that. So I like the way that it's responding to that news, even though it's not in its favor. So I'm hoping that even if, that news does not come out favorably or what, like this might just keep moving higher because it has been since April when, tariff tantrum, all that bottomed. So we'll see what happens there. Etsy, I covered this in last week's video. It's bunching up here. It's looking good. Front running it. I just don't like how it closed on Friday. Luckily, the one positive was it wasn't on super strong volume. So we'll see how this plays out over the next couple of days. I do think it has great potential. It's a nice run up through here on volume, consolidation, and hopefully the idea is push higher. Is it tariffs? If we get a negative ruling for tariffs and say they're illegal, is that good for Etsy? Because it's like, okay, bring in all these like Chinese made goods or whatever and people pretend that they're handmade on Etsy. I don't know. I might be completely overthinking it. I'm trying to understand the potential turnaround story here. This is a weekly chart and it does look like it's trying to turn around, but what is the thesis? I don't really have a good handle on that. It's been on my radar and I like the way it's been firming up. That said, again, if we get a move into the 70, 72, I'm definitely taking half off. I'm surprised I don't have that target in yet. And then hopefully trail the rest. But I don't love it. But I do like the potential for a 10 to 20% move, which would be fantastic for me. Zeta. This was one, if you look back into the previous videos, I had a pretty aggressive long position on. And this is what caused me to tighten up my stops on a lot of my set and forget stuff. I really started feeling like in this area, man, maybe I should get out of this. Maybe I should cover and take what I have. And I didn't. I said, no, stick with your plan. Let your stop do the work. And you can see I got stopped out here at 2092. I just feel like I left a lot on the table. If I'm looking back on this trade and I'm kind of doing a post-mortem, I don't want to be resulting. Meaning I don't want to say, okay, this didn't work as well as it should have. That's the wrong way to look at it. But I really did think in the moment, I was like, well, I saw this on Twitter. People are crazy about it, but there's no real theme here. This is a software that had like some partnership with OpenAI, a marketing platform, right? And it's just kind of flimsy from a narrative or a thematic perspective. And it had a good run, and I should have just taken more off. I tried to short some into the close on, this isn't my stop. This is my short. No, it is my stop. 16,950. Anyway, I tried to short some. Yeah, I didn't short until down here into the close, and I didn't get, I think I was going for 7,500 shares. That would make a lot more sense. I didn't get that last zero. So I have a very, very small short on here now. I'll probably just close this out. I was trying to hedge things more, and this just looks so pukey, and that it's losing the AVWAP from this previous high. It just looked like a nice short if we were going to get some follow through next week, but I would ignore it. I'm probably going to just scratch out of it or whatever. Speaking of stuff to ignore, QCLS is some kind of biotech play, I think. I have no idea. My buddy turned me on to this. I'm trying some new stuff, so I threw some size at it. Not a ton, 75K worth here, twice. Averaging a loser. I make mistakes, guys. I should have bailed on this when this whole structure failed, this roll-up failed, but I didn't. So I'm just kind of sitting on this, keeping an eye on it, and if it really starts trading lower, I'll get out of it, and I'll take my licks and learn my lesson. So ignore it. It's just on my book. I'm showing everything, guys. I'm not hiding anything. So I make mistakes. I have stupid stuff I do too. Definitely not even close to perfect yet. Last one, AXTI. I honestly have no idea what this does. Another one where my buddy called it out and he was like, hey, I'm shorting this. And I was looking for shorts into the close just to kind of try to hedge my book a little bit. And I took it. I like it. Just big sell-off. I don't know why or what happened or what the reasoning is, or maybe it's just a double top and this thing's gonna, hopefully trip down. But I'm short here again, just to kind of try to protect the portfolio as a whole. And I'm trying to mix a lot more shorts in with my longs and just get better about when the market does have down days or when the portfolio is selling off, I'm cushioning that. I learned last year that my biggest drawdowns were when I was not prepared in those situations, and I could have just done a lot better if I was doing more to protect against those scenarios. So that's what I'm trying to do this year. I am going for super performance this year. I'm trying to just crush it. And these videos are a part of that. This is my process. This is hopefully just going to make me better. I appreciate everybody watching. I'll be sharing tons more on Twitter this week. We'll do another video next weekend. And please do all this stuff, man. Like, subscribe, do that. It really motivates me. It keeps me going. So thank you. And have a great week.